All right, hello, everyone. I'm Greta Wall. I'm in today for Michael Camo. He is, we have him on a bit of a suspension, but he'll be back. He'll be back next week, but I'm going to be taking over the Brain Trust episode 16 today. So for those who have not seen me before, I am Greta. I'm the other side of the content team here at T3 Live. I'm joined by JR, Derrick, and Sami as usual today. Quickly, let's go through some disclosures and a look at the positions that Derrick is currently trading. Derrick, here's a look at his positions as of just a few minutes ago. Derrick is a regulated trader with T3 Trading Group, so we just got to make sure we show you guys all of that. All right, guys, so our topic today is the Netflix earnings reaction, and then we'll get into a bunch of other things as well. So today's program, again, Netflix earnings reaction. We're going to talk about Q4 earnings season overall as well, the new Trump era market that we are in and how you guys have been navigating it, some of your favorite ideas, and of course, first we are going to start here with two truths and a lie. I would not let you guys down. I know this is part of the best part of the Brain Trust here. So let's go ahead and play. Today we're going to talk about Netflix. So how this works is we're going to make three statements. One of them will be a lie. I need you guys to try to guess the lie. Everyone in the chat, whether you're on YouTube or Twitter, participate as well. So we'll have a winner here and a winner for our audience. So again, Netflix is what we are focused on today for our two truths and a lie. So here are my three statements. First, Blockbuster turned down a $50 million deal to buy Netflix. Google is older than Netflix. And the original name before it was Netflix was Kibble. Who wants to guess first? Anyone? Any takers?
I thought that it was the opposite with Blockbuster and Netflix. I'm trying to remember. I thought that Netflix offered to buy Blockbuster, not Blockbuster offering to buy Netflix, but it could be completely wrong.
I'm gonna pick two. Number two.
All right. Sami says two. Derrick, you going with one?
I never heard of Kibble. I'm just gonna go with number three. Pure guess.
Okay, number three. JR?
I think I'm gonna go with two. I don't think Google's older than Netflix.
All right, two is the lie. Sami, you got it first. So Sami is our champion here. In the chat, we got Amy Vaughn right here at the end. She got it, two. Everyone else, a lot of other people guessed three alongside you, Derrick. Yeah, Kibble was one of the names that they were using before they settled on Netflix. Interesting. But yeah, Netflix was founded on August 29th of 1997, and Google was founded on September 4th of 1998. So Netflix is officially older than Google. All right, guys. So our topic today is Netflix. We got earnings last night and a huge gap up post earnings. We kind of take our turns here and just all of you give me your reaction to Netflix. Have you traded it since the report? Were you trading it into the report? What do you think of the chart here? You know, we were over 1,000 points earlier. Where are we at now? 967.96. Bit of a pullback after this morning. What do you guys think of Netflix? If anyone wants to pull up their charts, you can, and we can take a look. Who wants to go first? Takers.
And I'll just jump in. Just talk about the reaction. So the reaction is, I mean, it was a phenomenal earnings report. So the stock deserves to go up on it. The report was excellent. The active users or the additional subscribers, whatever that number is, was a blowout number. It was the best quarter ever. It was even surpassed like the COVID quarters when everybody was literally locked in their house and could do nothing except for watch Netflix. They somehow managed to surpass that. I guess the campaign of cutting down on password sharing has really worked for them. And on top of that, they announced an additional buyback. I forget the number. I think an extra $15 or $25 billion on top of their buyback that they already have. So the stock deserves to be up a ton. I didn't trade this at all. I didn't trade it after hours yesterday, and then this morning I was gapping up to 11. Gapping up to 1,000. I just felt that I missed the bulk of the move already at that point. I wasn't going to chase $1,000 despite the fact that it was an awesome earnings report. I thought maybe they would fade it a little bit, $20 or $30, which is what happened, but it just wasn't something I wanted to be involved in shorting what I thought was a phenomenal earnings report. So haven't been involved, but that's my take.
I'm sorry, I'm just putting up my charts, but I thought the Netflix gap was actually not too bad at all. I actually tried it long, and it was my only loser today. So that didn't work out. But it looks pretty good. There's nothing about it that I don't like. The stock is up quite a bit on the weekly and the monthly, obviously. So probably is why it's pulling in today. But overall, I mean, it probably signals what's yet to come this earnings season. I think it's going to be probably is looking like it's going to be very, very bullish.
JR, do you have any thoughts on Netflix?
I mean, Netflix is one of those names that I call out in my room all the time. I give people levels. We're really accurate. I just don't like the way it trades intraday, particularly. It had a really nice gap today. So, they had their 2025 guidance for revenue was the revenue growth was 12 to 14% on a reported basis, and their what was impressive was their compound annual growth rate. They came in at 20 to 25% EPS. So, it was a blowout report. I don't like trading the same. I don't think it's super easy to trade intraday, but I do think it probably portends well for the rest of the earnings season.
Yeah, so you both mentioned that Netflix is kind of like a signal for what's to come with this earnings season. Sami, I know you are, of course, super active in earnings. It's one of the main strategies you use in your trading. So earnings season is like your bread and butter. When it comes to Q4 earnings season, we're getting into it. Next week, we'll get big reports, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, I think Amazon next week as well. It's the big Mag 7 week. What is your focus and your plan for this earnings season in particular, and your expectations?
Yeah, so the expectations are going to be probably bullish because the market was doing lower highs, lower lows on the daily chart, and finally we broke out of that downtrend, and now the SPY is almost at all-time high. So if you look at also the weekly chart of the Nasdaq or the QQQ, we got a wide range green bar on the weekly, and it's just riding that rising 45-degree rising 20 MA. So the expectations is that this is going to be a bullish quarter, and I will look to play the market stocks mostly long. Other, the small cap stocks those will start to come into effect probably at the beginning of the next month, and those could go either way because a lot of them are really, really bearish. Look at the IWM; it's struggling to keep up with the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So a lot of these names I will still look to play short, but for the market-related stocks, the Mag 7 and all of these, probably the focus is going to be long.
For someone who hasn't been here before and heard your strategy, Sami, can you just quickly kind of explain your earnings strategy and how you use it?
It's one of my favorite strategies ever. So I scan daily charts every single night, but on the weekend I do a deep dive into the entire market, and I look at thousands of names, thousands of charts. And over time, I noticed, and I've been doing this literally since I started trading in 2004, 2005. And over time, I started to notice, actually in 2010, I started to notice that if the stock is bullish, like pretty nice and bullish, not extended means overbought, not overbought, so it's just riding that 20 MA. And if it sells off the day or the few days leading up to earnings, if it sells off, it usually gaps up. So over time, that's what I noticed, that strong stocks that show weakness ahead of earnings are a great opportunity to go long. And it makes sense if you think about it, because it's a strong stock that people are selling ahead of earnings, meaning they have low expectations for it. But it's a strong stock, so you want to buy it. Whereas if it's a strong stock and it's up a lot into earnings, well, it's probably baked in. The expectations are probably sky high, and a good earnings report is already expected. So even if the company meets those expectations and does report really good numbers, it may not gap up still because the expectations are high. So I'm looking. So the idea is I'm looking for really strong stocks with low expectations that are non-extended or not overbought, and that's it. Those are the three main things that I look for: strong stocks that have low expectations that are not extended, or vice versa, weak stocks on high expectations that are also into the 20 MA to play them short. So that's kind of the gist of the strategy, basically.
All right. And then JR and Derrick, how do your earning strategies differ from Sami's, or maybe you're similar?
Take it away, JR. I just shorted some Qs.
Yeah, you did, big boy. I wish I had Sami's crystal ball. I like to actually trade the reaction to the earnings. It's a great opportunity for fades, reversals, momentum continuation. So, I'm pretty fast on the old keyboard with the hotkeys, and I like to do that. But mad respect to Sami, who seems to nail these really well.
Thanks, JR. I wish it was a crystal ball, but it isn't. It's more like looking into muddy water.
Muddy water, yeah. Derrick, what's your earning strategy like?
I'm a little bit more in the JR camp, though. I'm fascinated by the thought process of what Sami does. I'm reactionary to after it comes out. I really like to pay attention to the implied move from the options market going into a report. I find that those levels are very often tradable on the first test of those levels when a stock is getting to them after hours. So I'll end up trading a lot of these Mag 7 mega cap stocks when they report. So yeah, that's it. I don't like buy right in front of a report. I trade it after it comes out.
Right. All right. Amy from YouTube wants to know, Sami, if you're thinking long for AMD earnings, and if anyone wants to share a chart, if it would help.
Yeah. So I didn't look at the list of companies that are reporting today after the close, but basically
AMD is not until I think February 4th.
Yeah, so I will have to wait and look at it then. But AMD doesn't look too good. It's really, really weak. So it's not something. So again, you would be going against what I just said. I would be going against what I just said. I said, look for strong stocks that are showing short-term weakness, longer-term strength, shorter-term weakness. This is showing long-term weakness and short-term strength. So it would be more like a short, but I also don't like it as a short. Does that make sense? So I already gave you the blueprint, so to speak. The idea is to look for long-term strength and short-term weakness to play long. We don't want to violate that on the on the very first symbol that we look at. So AMD, I don't like it short because it's at support, but I also don't like it long. But I would have to wait and see what it looks like the day before earnings. So I focus on companies that are reporting after the close today. So I'll be scanning that list when I come on the mic after I finish this, and then tomorrow before the morning. Those are the items that I focus on. So every day I have a new list basically.
Yeah, Sami's not looking far ahead. It's just today and tomorrow, so we can get the best ideas. All right, guys, we are day 2 of trading in the new Trump era market, the new stock market of Trump administration 2.0. So far, things are looking pretty good. We got a little bit of a pullback on the first little open yesterday, but then they closed good. Things are up today. The Qs up above the NASDAQ, up above 20,000 today, up all nearly 300 points, just continuing to push higher. Derrick just mentioned he's shorting the Qs. What do you guys think of the Trump market so far, and how have you been navigating it the past couple of days?
Who wants to jump in?
Derrick, you're shorting the Qs, so you can go.
So I'm a bull on the market. Let me make that clear. I'm a bull on the market. This market broke its downtrend. I really flipped to being heavily bullish. Actually, just before our show a week ago, which was the day that the CPI came out, I thought that CPI was a game changer with what it did with interest rates. And we hit the point where we were pricing in basically zero rate cuts for 2025. And I felt like there was only one way to go from there. So that CPI turned me from I would call it neutral to bearish short term to just pretty much a full on bull. And then the market technicals, maybe I can do the quick screen share here. Boom. Should be showing a buy chart right now.
Yep.
So all three of the major indexes that I look at, which is the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Russell, I don't really look at the Dow. They all have these like false breakdowns through these support levels. So this 580 was a really important support level for the SPYs. We broke it. We spent a day or so below it, snap right back up. So one of my favorite sayings in technical analysis is from a failed move comes a fast move. Failed breakdown here, granted it was coupled with good news on the CPI, has led to a really fast move to the upside. Q is pretty much the exact same deal. The Qs had a little bit of support between like 506 and 510. 510 was really the major level that I was looking at. Spent a couple of days below it, snap right back above it with CPI, failed move, fast move. IWM, same deal. Support at 218, failed move, fast move to the upside, though this has now been lagging a little bit today. So I am a bull on this market. We've now cleared back through some major resistance levels from these pivot lows when we were downtrending. Things are looking really good. But I always look at trend with the context of extension. And now at this point, really starting today, we're beginning to extend up. We just went in, I don't know, what is this, 4, 5, 6, 7 trading sessions, not even 7 full trading sessions. We just went from SPY 575, where we were actually a bit extended to the downside, to now SPY, like right now we're at 607.60. That's a really, really fast move in a short period of time, bringing us from basically the way that I characterize it, extreme extension from the downside to extreme extension on the upside. So don't get me wrong, I'm a bull. I've got a lot of long positions on right now, but when we start to see moves that are this big, this fast, that's a signal for me to book some profit on those longs that are paying me, and potentially to start to build into some shorts, particularly at the index level, that hedge my longs a little bit, but also actually act as trades where all I'm looking for is a satisfaction of this extension through time or through price. We start going sideways up here, build out a bull flag, it'd be incredibly bullish, let these moving averages catch up a little bit, or if we price correct back down a little bit, that's fine as well. I'll make a few bucks on a couple of these shorts that I put on, give back a little bit of open P&L on my longs, but then I'll liquidate those and probably add back onto those longs as I see a potential pivot low come in. So make no mistake about it, I'm bullish, but at this point, this move is getting massive. I've been waiting for some sort of signal to come in to get a little bit heavier on the short side. This might have just been it here at 1210. No real volume confirmation on it. It's the middle of the day. We do see more midday reversals, I feel like, than we used 2 years back. So that's why I kind of called out, hey, I'm shorting some extra Qs here a little bit. I already had some on. I was building in too slowly, but I just added some real size here, and we'll see if we begin to get some sort of a pullback that satisfies some of this upside extension in the market.
All right, Sami, JR, any market thoughts?
Yeah. So here's the thing. Love him or hate him, whatever. Trump is probably the single most pro-business president we've ever had in the history of this country. And in the first term, Trump would rattle the market with his tweets and the things that he said or whatever, right? But the market kept going up anyway. Over time, the market kept going up. He introduced tariffs, and it was very, very, it was like, what nobody was expecting it. It kept shocking the market, basically. And yet, over time, the market kept going up. So, to me, now that Trump is back in the office, and now that all of this is not going to be, the market is not going to really react to any of this stuff because it's to be expected. And yet Trump is back in office. Guess what? I think we're going to be really bullish over the coming couple of years, probably. He also has, all these pro-business, super savvy people like Elon Musk, obviously, on board. and it wouldn't be good for them to see a bearish market because their companies would get killed. So I feel like, you know, if you had any doubt about the market, just think about what I said, that even though a lot of the things that Trump did or said in his first term, they weren't even enough when all said and done to have any lasting impact on the market. And the market was super bullish until COVID, of course. So now that all of this is to be, you know, all of this is baked in, you know, if he tweets something about the Fed or about China, the market is probably going to brush it aside, not going to care. And yet Trump is back in, and he's got all these tech bros on board, you know, Zuckerberg, Elon, right? So I think it's going to be a really bullish market. And the last thing I'm going to say is look at the technical picture. You know, the big money is made when you're playing with the trend, not when you're doing the counter moves. Those are good to do for short-term, you know, income generation, things like that. But the big money is made in riding that uptrend. And if you look at the uptrend, we're not extended. Look at the weekly. We're not extended. We're just riding up that 20-period moving average. You know, look at Meta, for example, how much it's moved up. Why? Because it never really got climactic. Look at Netflix on the weekly chart, just up, and the market is the same. It's not as volatile as Netflix and Meta, but it's the same. So it's a very, very bullish market. Make no mistake about it. That doesn't mean we're not going to get pullbacks. We are, but those are mostly going to be opportunities to buy. Be careful only when the market starts to go up and up and up and up and up and not look back. So that's when it becomes a little bit parabolic, right? That's when you should watch out as a bull. But otherwise, the market is really inherently bullish, and the fact that whatever Trump says is gonna probably be brushed off, and then that makes it even more bullish, makes me more bullish.
All right. Guys, Trump today announced his new Stargate AI investment backed by Oracle, OpenAI, and SoftBank. And then Musk, his little bestie, came out and kind of undermined it and said SoftBank has well under $10 billion secured. I have that on good authority. He wrote that on his X on Twitter, kind of saying that they don't actually have the money to back up their pledge to invest the $500 billion. Interesting little undercut there of Trump. What do you guys think, though, of the administration's investment in the AI space?
If I can't trade it, I don't care.
JR, I know you have some, you know, you've had lots of thoughts on AI, and you're much smarter than me in this space. Any thoughts on, you know, I mean, Oracle?
I tend to doubt that, but I'll give it my best. I'm strictly in the, you know, I'm with Derrick. Can it make me money quickly? Is this a chart I can trade? So, you know, can I share my screen here? Hold on.
Yeah.
1 second. Oh, I think my screen sharing privileges have been removed.
Not by me.
Come on, left us a little present.
Maybe your computer just doesn't want you to. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So, look, going back to what we're talking about, this has been a strange, a little bit of a strange market post December. We had the December 18th, you know, igniting the big distribution day, and then 3 legs lower. We had our bottoming day in January on the 13th, and we've seen a very, and where I'm going with this is we've seen a very precipitous and quick, sudden change of narrative from, you know, the concern about rates and inflation and a 10-year that seemed like it was out of control and from the 13th where we bottomed, and you've basically gone beyond the neckline of an inverse head and shoulders and just literally exploded into all-time highs. So what I'm seeing is a market that rotates narratives and rotates focus very, very quickly. And your ability to understand what's in play, what concern, the market's always fighting off multiple demons, right? Climbing walls of worry, etc. So the ability to just focus on the charts that are moving and the narrative that's in play is really going to give you an edge and save you a whole lot of time, money, and preoccupation. So, yes, I think what Trump did is really, really bullish. But if you were chasing that move today, you got absolutely clobbered, right? Dell, Oracle, Micron. I guess some of these names are still up, but there was a lot of fading going on this morning. So you have to be really in tune with the charts and with the current sentiment, and just do that, because you can see here in a matter of days we went from people were calling for 20% corrections in the market to 6 consecutive breadth days of 2/3 of stocks advancing, setting a new consecutive breadth record. You just have to really be in tune with sentiment changes in this market because they're very abrupt.
All right, guys, before we get to your ideas of the day, let's get to some questions from YouTube. Derrick noticed you're short. Frank noticed you are short Tesla. He asked why and what are your targets?
Originally, I was planning on shorting this thing if I could get a pop. Actually, back on January 15th, if it could have worked its way up and extended to 440, I was interested in shorting it. It got there on Friday, but I didn't pull the trigger yet because I didn't really want to put the new position on like a Friday afternoon in front of a long weekend. So I actually started shorting this yesterday. I think it's been pretty relatively weak yesterday. It's relatively weak again today. Tesla's down 0.9%. The Qs are up 1.6%. So you have a lot of relative weakness there. Don't have a massive target on this, nor is my position massive at this point. I will be willing to build in a little bit higher. Right now, I'm just looking for a move back down to 400, 405, kind of that zone. Not necessarily today, but as a potential multi-day trade, especially if this market does roll back down a little bit. I don't know. I think it's very hard sometimes because like I tell my room of traders that I work with all the time, I really don't give a crap about your political opinions about anything. And I don't want that stuff discussed in my room. I don't care who you support as your president. I'm not going to share who I supported during the election. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make us money. I want us to focus on what makes us money. But yet sometimes it becomes very difficult because there's a fine line between discussing certain things that happen politically that actually have impacts in the market. And I just think that some of the stuff that we're beginning to see out of Elon Musk, even as an example this morning with what we were just talking about with this, it's called Stargate or whatever. Trump saying one thing and Elon Musk then coming out and completely saying something else. I just think that the personalities are too big there, and that eventually that relationship is going to deteriorate. And this is a very big picture, obviously, but if you combine that with some of the controversy around what happened on the inauguration day and the relative weakness that's coming in on the stock these last couple of days, this is something that I want to have on as a short when the market's extended right now, which it is. So like I just said earlier, I'm a big bull on this market, but into this degree of extension is when I want to start having some shorts on. So I got some Qs short, I got some Tesla short, have some Palantir short. I day traded ARM and RGTI to the short side today, made a few bucks in both of them. But that's really the extent of the thought process there.
All right.
But are we gonna? I just want to know if we're gonna answer the one guy's question in the chat who wants Sami to review the fart coin chart.
Oh, the Bitcoin. I didn't see the
no, not Bitcoin. Somebody asked you guys to talk about fart coin.
Oh, fart coin.
Oh, Derrick.
I don't feel bloated at all, so I'm not sure. I'm just kidding. Let's see. So I actually have not looked at it at all. So I'm just pulling up the chart.
You want to share your screen, Sammy?
I can.
Yeah.
So
we'll look at the chart with you.
Yeah, sure. It looks terrible. I mean, it looks
terrible.
Yeah, I don't even need to share the chart. It's just in a downtrend. Right. I mean, it's a joke. I mean, it just doesn't look good at all. It's in a downtrend. Buy something that's in an uptrend. You know, I like Solana a lot. I like XRP a lot. I have a position in Bitcoin. I have a position in Ether. I have a position in Solana, XRP, and I put on a position in Cardano recently, but it's not going anywhere. But that's what I have positions in. I'm not gonna have. I don't have a position in fart. That just, and not really because of the name, but because the stock is in a downtrend. Buy something that's in an uptrend. So that's my take, and I agree 100% about what Derrick said and JR says all the time. We just want to focus on things that make us money, that we can trade. Anything that's outside of our control, that's politics or anything, that doesn't matter. That we can deal with that in our personal lives if we so choose. But when it comes to trading, all we care about are things that actually impact our trading. That's the extent of the politics that's allowed to be discussed in my room as well. We don't talk politics at all because that's the stuff that divides us basically. Yeah. And doesn't make us money. So, all right. What else? Anything else?
All right. Somebody wanted to know you guys' thoughts on TLT and rates for the next coming weeks.
I think TLT is staying extremely weak, so I don't like it. Rates, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the Fed signaled that they're going to not lower rates that much more. I think the expectations was for 4 more cuts in 2025, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But all I can see is that TLT is staying very, very weak. So even though it's at support on the monthly chart, it's staying very weak. So it's not something I would want to bet. It's not something I would want to be bullish on. And besides, when they started lowering rates, I thought the TLT would take off. It didn't. But again, let the chart be your guide. The chart is going like this. I don't want to be buying it. I'm only going to buy a chart that's declining, price that's declining, if it becomes parabolic, if it becomes climactic, basically. But if it's just declining, don't buy it. That's my recommendation.
Anyone else have thoughts on rates, TLT? We can move on to the next question. What? JR, go ahead.
I think I was just going to say, I think people obsess about the rates. No one has figured this out, okay? The smartest people on the planet cannot tell you where the 10-year yield is going to be 2 weeks from now, okay? People obsess about this, and I think a lot of people really just go completely off the reservation, worrying about the 10-year and the TLT. It's just not super relevant. There are so many different pressures affecting our currency and our bond yields, and the smartest economists in the world can't figure it out. Especially with all the exogenous rate cutting we're seeing internationally, it's really difficult to try to figure that out. Your edge is it's in the chart. As a trader, you're not going to be able to crack this particular puzzle, in my opinion. So I don't even worry about it.
All right. Frank also wants to know if anybody thinks ARM is the 2025 version of Palantir.
That sounds like a JR question.
Yeah, JR, I know you guys were active at ARM this morning, right, in your room?
Yeah, it was on the watch list this weekend. We liked it yesterday. We're in it today as well. I mean, if you look at the fundamentals of the company, the chart makes no sense. I don't think it's anywhere nearly as important as Palantir as a company. nor does it have the kind of the kind of competitive edge in the market that Palantir has, being sort of the only game in town. That being said, you had a beautiful catalyst with Trump yesterday, and now you had a major technical catalyst when you broke 152, 153. That was your prior sort of most traded volume area on the breakdown. So you got through some of that overhead supply, and now this thing is squeezing higher. Is it going to be the storied name? I mean, maybe. I don't see why that would be the case. There's a really good case to be made for Palantir being a unique company with massive advantages over their competitors. I don't see that playing out for ARM at all. So I'm not sure. I mean, we'll let us, the chart will tell us what to do, I guess.
All right. Before we get to ideas, Raj, Sami wants to know what the retest levels are on Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, coin.
All right, let's take a look. So I close out of Bitcoin charts real quick. So just give me 1 sec. So Bitcoin, there's no, like, when the stock or the coin in this case is just grinding up, and no reason to expect it to pull in much. And I think for Bitcoin, it's already pulled in. So in terms of where the levels are, there are no levels. It just looks higher. It's just grinding up. And when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to MSTR, MSTR had the climactic move and it crashed. It bounced off of it. Probably needs to base for a while before it is higher again. But MSTR, I mean, it's building support. Eventually, I think it goes higher. What was the other one? The other question?
Coin.
Oh, coin. Coin. Let's take a look. Coin is a little bit similar to MSTR in the sense that it had the big move. It pulled in. Now it moved up again. So I would wait for it to base for a while before looking to play it to the upside. But look, as long as Bitcoin is bullish, all of these will eventually probably go higher. Eventually. But those charts are not the best. The coin doesn't look amazing. MSTR doesn't look amazing. Actually, I looked at the chart of ARM, and it looks pretty darn good. Like long term, today was a major breakout day. It's still is at resistance, but longer term, it looks extremely bullish. So whoever said it's going to be the new Palantir, you might be right about it. You just might be. From a technical point of view, of course. I know nothing about ARM, not much at least, but from a technical point of view, it does look pretty bullish.
Yeah, Sami trades the charts, just the charts. All right, guys, let's get your ideas for the week. Who wants to go first and what they are currently loving?
I'll go first since I gotta go quickly.
Let's pull your charts up, Sami, so we can.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Show us what you're seeing.
Yes, let's pull up my charts.
Let's have Sami go first so that JR and I can just not do anything, and then we'll be good because every company will be covered.
That is funny. No, not so much this time. I like the Zillow. Right. I'm back in the Zillow. It's a weekly buy setup, basically. Beautiful, like it. I'm liking the bill as a longer term play. That's the weekly chart, and here's the monthly. So I'm liking the bill longer term. I'm in the JD. I love the JD on the monthly. See how it's look at the 20 MA starting to curl, to point up, breaking a 5-year downtrend basically. And if JD is higher, this is what I said on the weekend in the video that I did on YouTube this weekend. I said if JD is higher, which is a major company, then the whole China market is higher. China's been tough to call the bottom on. Like if you look at the FXI, it's been difficult to call the bottom other than this huge bounce that we got a few weeks ago, several months ago. But I mean, is this it? Is this it? Is that it? So it's been hard. I mean, other than, again, that move up was amazing, but then since then it's been just dropping. So did the FXI bottom? I don't know, but what I can tell you is I think JD is bottomed. I'm in the VNet, which is doing extremely well. I'm in the YMM, which I love on the monthly also. Check it out. That's the YMM. So I'm in a few names, like a few China names, and they look good. So I think China might actually be pretty good to look for opportunities. So I like the whole sector. Baba is not as good, but if JD is bottomed, guess what? Baba is probably bottomed too. He's doing a weekly buy setup, a monthly buy setup on the Baba. Deep pullback. But again, if you think China bottomed, then Baba should be good as well. I do like the JD more, but JD is a little bit late right now, whereas Baba is not late at all. So those are some ideas. I don't have my my daily watch list with me on this machine, so I don't have my complete list. But those are some things that I know off the top of my mind. The ADPT, I mentioned it in last week's live stream, last Wednesday, I guess. This is looking good. ADPT, liking it, up another 7.5% on top of 10% yesterday. So it broke out. Like it higher long term, but late. Last week when I mentioned it was the right time to buy it. A little bit late now, but those are some of the ideas. It's not, I don't have a ton of ideas like I normally do, but those are some of the things that I'm watching right now or I'm in.
All right. Sammy's bullish on China, everyone.
We'll see.
Jerry, you want to go next? I see your charts.
Yeah, I spent the last couple of days sort of closing positions. We were really bullish GEV, just to follow from stuff with Kamal. Right there, 376 close post earnings into the 427 handle. VST, we're still in it. I think this bases and gives us a whole leg higher here soon. VIRT's one that I absolutely love on the weekly. It's about to break a beautiful bullish consolidation here, and I'm expecting at least an $8 to $10 measured move higher into the 42-45 handle. Another one I really like is SE. Now on the weekly, it kind of already broke out, but you've got a really nicely, I call this a hot dog break of 120. I know Derrick's gonna like that one. So not the Linda Rashke there. So break of the inside bar, 119.47. It looks good on looks good on the monthly. You already had a weekly trigger there. This looks like a Sami chart, this SE.
Exactly, I'm in it. It's an
You're in it.
newsletter. You guessed it.
Yeah. The other one that we had on watch over the weekend was base breakout in PSCG on the weekly. And this to me looks like it's got two more legs higher to maybe 95. I love this chart on the daily, on the weekly. This looks fantastic. It's beautiful consolidation. You're breaking out here. So I'd look for a move to maybe $85, $90 next. So there's some things going on. But today, we're getting as the market makes all-time highs, a lot of the fizz from yesterday's Trump presentation sort of giving it back. So it's been a little bit of a tougher intraday trading environment.
David gave you a call out Derrick on the cues. Nice call on your short there. So.
Appreciate it. I actually just took a little bit off. I just covered a little bit of the Q position that I called out when we were getting started. But I'm looking for a little bit more as well.
All right, Derrick, where are you focused this week?
Sure. So a couple things. So one is, and I can put charts up if we need to. One is my approach to markets always starts with the market before it breaks down to any individual stocks. And I just feel that, and I think that maybe Sami has seen some of this also. The move that we just had in this market was so big that a lot of charts need to reset up right now, and that includes the indexes as well. So I don't like to force things when the setup's not there. Huge upside move in this market. We need some degree, in my opinion, of time or price correction, and time or price correction of this up move will give us the setups to then look for the next trades. So right now, I think that we are, markets work in periods of expansion and consolidation over time. The consolidation periods are where the setups build out. The expansion periods are where you get paid. We just had a big expansion period from these lows to highs. I want some digestion to give me setups. There's a bunch of charts out there that I think look really interesting that I mentioned in my morning meeting this morning. I just am not in a rush to buy them right now until I get a better index setup. But I think that Meta is starting to look a lot better. There was a whole ton of chop this month because of all the TikTok news, but it's finally starting to clear out on some levels. It's finally beginning to, and test some others. It's finally beginning to break up a little bit. I think Microsoft, which has been off my list for a while, just because it's been in this rangy consolidation, tricky consolidation area between like 410 and 435, 440, has been off my list for a while. And then today was the first day I gave it a mention in a long time of, hey, I'm a little bit nervous about chasing new longs right now with where the market is, but I think that Microsoft also looks good and maybe we can re-engage this. I think that Amazon looks really good, but it's also needs some time to reset up. Amazon's breaking out on the daily chart. I like Google into this $200 area, but also let's just wait. Let's just be a little bit patient. Let's wait for the indexes. So that's kind of my general approach. And then beyond that, Sami took it from me on these China stocks. I mentioned them last Wednesday when we had Mike here. I'll mention them again today. I totally agree with what he was saying about JD. I'm a bull on JD. I've got a long on. I also have a pretty big position in Alibaba. The Alibaba has not been as good. It's been relatively weak. I sold a boatload of $25 puts in the YINN towards the end of last week, which are paying me pretty well, but I want a position in it. I want to be more aggressive in these things. So I like the China play right now. I think that the market has hit a point here from more of a macro perspective where they kind of have priced in maximum pain for China coming from Trump and the tariffs and the Chinese economy and everything else. And once you hit the point where they price in max pain, it's a little bit like I said with the TLT before, with interest rates before, it's kind of only one way you can go from there. So that is where I'm at.
All right. We lost Sami. Sami had to go. So it's just us three. So if you want to say anything bad about Sami, now's the time to do it. Just kidding. But real quickly, before we go, Benjamin wants to know your guys' thoughts on the semis, stock sell, if it's too extended. And then we'll close out.
JR, you want me to take it?
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it just needs to reset up like everything I think I was just saying with the indexes. It's another area where there was a huge move. If I was long SOXL, which I'm not, I would be booking profit here, not necessarily shorting it, but I'd be booking profit here and then waiting for that time or price correction to reset up to reestablish a position and reestablish a trade.
All right, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let you guys go. I know I've taken over 45 minutes of your time, and you're all a real.
No, it's been great. Thank you, Greta.
Trading. Kamo, we'll let him come back next week. We'll let Mike come back next week. So
maybe you guys should do like a cage match.
Pretty tough. I might beat him. So.
I would fully expect that you would beat him.
My money's on you, Greta.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your week. And Derrick, I'll see you next week. Adios.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.